Welcome back to another Procreate tutorial. Today we're going to take some of this marble art that we learned how to do in our last tutorial. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. And we're going to add that to some lettering. We're going to make some cool 3D lettering that looks a bit like candy. Here's another one that I made that I think looks a bit like taffy. This is actually a pretty easy technique and it's really fun, the types of things that you can make. Let's jump right in. Hey there, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Lori. On this channel, I cover all things iPad, creativity, and productivity. If that sounds good to you, make sure you stick around. Go ahead and make a new canvas. Any size, I'm just gonna grab a square. And the first thing we need to do is figure out what kind of text we want to make. You can do a single letter, you can do a word. You can either draw the text yourself or use a font. We're just gonna go ahead and insert a font. Let's go ahead and grab black. You can double tap close to that if you don't have it in your palette. Come over here to the wrench, that's your action menu, and choose Add Text. And we're just gonna use an R, that's my last name, Russell, and it makes a pretty nice letter form. Double tap on that and bring up the font menu. I'm going to find just a nice chunky font so we can really show off this effect. This one's called Maybe Coffee. Not sure why, but looks like a good one. So we're going to grab that. And I'm going to make this quite a bit bigger. Basically fill my canvas here. All right, perfect. And if you want to, you can turn snapping on and center it. If this was something I was going to display or use, I probably would do that, but for this demonstration, it doesn't have to be perfect. And the next thing we want to do is actually turn the opacity down on our letter form. We're going to come over to our layers panel, tap this little N, and we're going to turn this down to maybe about 25%. We still want to be able to see this as we're creating the marble, just so we know where all of our swirls are going to go. Then we're going to come to this bottom layer and think about whatever color palette you'd like to use for your swirls. I'm going to grab my Ocean Jewels palette here. And again, you can use any brush that you'd like. I'm going to grab this kind of watercolor smudgy brush. And the first thing I'm going to do actually is lay down a base color, something that I can mix all these other colors into. I'm going to grab this dark blue and just drop that on there. Then I'm going to add, I think, 3 more colors, a little bit of a lighter blue here with that brush, and just drop some of that onto the canvas, a bit haphazardly. I'm going to grab another blue here, add some more, and I am doing this all in the same layer, just like we did in our marble tutorial. A little bit lighter blue in a few more spots, and then one of these turquoise colors. Space that out. Now we're going to come over to our magic wand, that's our adjustments menu. Go down to liquify, and I'm going to start with the push option. My size is about 50%, and I have these other 3 turned all the way up. You can play around with these settings to see what you like and how you can get the effect that you want. And I'm just going to start moving these around, swirling these colors together. And the reason that we wanted to have our R a little bit visible is because, unlike a regular marble painting where you want to make sure it looks good on the entire canvas, we really need the swirls to only look good where our letter form is. I'm just going through and making sure I have some nice variations within the letter here. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to take our marble layer in the layers panel and drag it above our letter. Tap on your letter here. You need to rasterize this, turn it into an actual shape. Now we can come back to our marble layer, tap it again, and choose Clipping Mask. Now we have this beautiful marble pattern within our letter form. It already looks pretty cool, but we're going to turn this into a 3D letter form. To do that, we're going to add some shadows and some highlights. Go ahead and add a new layer. I usually turn it into a clipping mask just so it's easy for me to stay inside the form here. Tap that little N and we're going to change this blend mode to overlay. Grab black. And I have a shading brush here that I use, but you can use the airbrush, any of those from the General Procreate sets as well. And we're basically just going to come in here, decide where your light is coming from. If mine's coming from this corner, I'm going to shade over here. And just start adding a little bit of shading on the edge. Doesn't need to be a perfect line, because we're going to blend this. And if that doesn't look quite dark enough, we can add a second layer. I'm just going to swipe left to duplicate. And then on this bottom layer, I'm going to come back to my magic wand, my adjustments menu, to Gaussian blur, and just smooth that out a little bit. That's about 13%. And then take down the opacity of this top one, just a smidge. Okay, so now we have our shadows. It's already looking a bit more 3D. We're going to add some highlights. Add a new layer at the top. We're going to change this blend mode to add. And I'm going to just sample one of these light blue colors here. That same shading brush. Actually, I have a highlighter one, but if you're using the airbrush, you could use the exact same brush. I'm just going to come in the opposite areas and add those highlights. And again, we're going to come back to our magic wand, Gaussian blur, smooth those out. And then I like to add one more layer of a bit stronger highlights, make these a little bit smaller, in just some very strategic areas. Make that one really bright. Maybe put one right here. Where that light is really strong. And then I'm going to blur those one more time. And there you go. And you can always add some color to your background if you'd like as well. And grab just a really light shade of this. Make it stand out a little bit more. Just realize when I put that background on that I didn't clip these. So that's something that will help you with that as well. Okay. And then the last thing we need to do is add our drop shadow, so it looks like our letter is actually sitting on the background. We're going to take our letter form here. It's already black, so we're just going to swipe left to duplicate it. Tap that bottom one. Come up to your transform tool, your arrow here, and we're just going to nudge it down a little bit here, the same direction as our other shadows. And come back to the magic wand, Gaussian blur, and just smooth that out. There we go. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give this video a like. It really does help my channel out. And I would love to see the fun letters that you create with this technique. So make sure that you tag me on Instagram at Lori Russell Design, and I will see you in the next video.